Well, thanks, Josh. It's great to be with you today. And indeed, today we are releasing the Liberal and Nationals plan for responsible economic management. Australians can have confidence in our plan for responsible economic management because we've demonstrated responsible economic management throughout our history as a political movement. We've demonstrated an ability to balance budgets when it counts, to take necessary decisions to see Australia through tough times, and to ensure that the policies we enact and we take forward are well thought through, well considered and fully costed. Throughout this election campaign, we have submitted to date 35 policies for independent verification, costing to be published transparently, independently by the Departments of Treasury and Finance. Indeed, a further 2 will be lodged this morning, providing 37 fully, transparently, independently costed coalition policies versus 0 that have been lodged by the Labor Party and Mr Albanese. Mr Albanese and the Labor Party take credit for establishing the Parliamentary Budget Office, and yet they have failed to use the processes of the Parliamentary Budget Office or the Charter of Budget Transparency and Honesty to actually get any of their costings independently published and verified through this election campaign. The Coalition has made some $2.3 billion worth of well-considered, well-thought-through policy commitments during this election. But we've also been mindful in making those commitments to ensure that we've had the money set aside to pay for them. We brought down a comprehensive budget just before the election, which demonstrated the biggest improvement in a budget bottom line in more than 70 years, improving the budget bottom line by $103 billion. And today we can demonstrate that we have fully paid for all of our election promises and improved that budget bottom line further to the tune of another $1 billion, providing a $104 billion improvement to the budget bottom line. My friend here, working in our government, has delivered a balanced budget before, a balanced budget that helped to ensure Australia was well positioned for the challenges that we could not foresee, we did not know were coming in the global pandemic, but that enabled us with that economic and fiscal strength to deliver a comprehensive response to keep Australians safe and secure. The contrast in this election is strong. Mr Albanese and the Labor Party have outlined, rather than fully costed policies, a raft of vague promises, hidden spending that they're not being transparent about. There's $25 billion of on-the-record Labor promises. There's $52 billion of funds they've established, secret funds, different funds that they're going to splash around in different ways across the country. There's $61 billion worth of nods and winks they're giving to the states and territories, to unions and others about other areas that increase spending. There's $302 billion worth of platform promises the Labor Party's committed to their membership and to others, but aren't accounting for in this election. Altogether, the Labor Party have $440 billion of extra spending pressures they're taking into this election, but they're not accounting for them and they're not being honest about them. Mr Albanese has been spending billions of dollars every single day of this election campaign through all of these reckless promises, where today we demonstrate the Liberal and National parties will save a further $1 billion in improvements to the budget bottom line. Mr Albanese yesterday was asked 5 times whether deficits would be higher under him, and 5 times he avoided answering the question. That's the dishonesty we're seeing from Labor. There is no way, not a hope in hell, that deficits won't be higher under Labor. The question for Mr Albanese isn't will deficits be higher under Labor or will debt be higher under Labor, but how much. Not how much by tens of billions, but how much by potentially hundreds of billions of dollars will debt be higher under Labor. Even this morning we saw the lack of accountability or transparency from the Labor Party. At 6:49 a.m. on the Today Show, we had Bill Shorten say that Labor's costings would apparently be released this Thursday. But at 6:50 a.m. on Sunrise, the shadow treasurer, Mr Chalmers, Sneaky Jim Chalmers, wouldn't say when Labor's costings would be released. You've got to give it to Bill Shorten. At the last election, he at least was honest enough as Labor leader to outline $387 billion worth of higher taxes to pay for Labor's spending. And today, at least, he's been honest enough to reveal that Labor will drop their costings at the absolute last minute of this election campaign. But Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese, they're trying to hide their costings, hide their spending and hide their higher taxes. Australians should know they can't trust Labor, and this demonstrates our plan released today. They can trust the coalition for lower taxes and responsible budget management.